On June 3rd, 2011, a 20-year-old college student attending Indiana University in Bloomington disappeared without a trace. Earlier that night, she was partying with friends and is seen with an acquaintance on their way to his townhouse, but she is never seen again. This is the baffling case of the disappearance of Lauren Spierer. Welcome to Let's Be Briefed. I'm Sara.
And I'm Sydney.
And today we're talking about the disappearance of Lauren Spierer. You said you hadn't really heard of this?
No, not really.
Okay. Yeah, I guess since I was in Indianapolis then, so that's really close, so I heard about it. And this is one of the reasons I didn't want to go to IU as a school, because that would have been me going into my senior year of high school, but Lauren Spierer was born on January 17th, 1991, and is originally from Scarsdale, New York, which is close to New York City. She had a boyfriend, Jesse Wolfe, who she met when she was 17 at a Jewish summer camp, Camp Tawanda in Pennsylvania. She graduated in 2009 and decided to follow Jesse to IU for college, where she was studying textiles merchandising. Also, Lauren had long QT, which is a genetic heart disorder that causes fluttering arrhythmias and bouts of severe drops in blood pressure, which she typically didn't disclose to many people that she had this, and she also would still play sports or do other vigorous activity, despite her disorder. She really wasn't supposed to be doing any of that, but she would. Lauren in high school was already starting to mix in with some rough crowds. She was an avid drinker and drug user, already in high school. And before her parents allowed her to go away for college, she had to attend a 6-week rehab program to address her drinking and drug use. And she at first didn't want to attend, but they said it was the only way they would let her follow Wolfe to IU, so she completed the program, and they let her go. But also, IU Bloomington, specifically the Bloomington campus, is a huge party school, so I'm a little confused why they even let her go if she was already having drug and alcohol problems.
Yeah.
But maybe they didn't know about that. I don't know. It's the top party school in Indiana though, and within the top 20 of the US. So I kind of believe maybe they did know, but I don't know. It's not the best environment since she was already an addict, but I guess maybe they thought with her boyfriend there too, he would keep her in line or something. But Jesse Wolfe was part of a Jewish fraternity, Alpha Epsilon Pi, which they had been booted from the fraternity system, but still they got together as if they were a fraternity. And a lot of the men in this fraternity came from the New York area, so they were called FLIDs, which stood for fucking Long Island douchebags. Which,
what the fuck?
Yeah.
Wait, that's kind of funny.
Yeah, which they weren't necessarily they didn't dislike that nickname. So I guess it fit, but also Wolfe had a jealous streak. And he was already talking about marriage with Lauren. At the time of her disappearance, she was 20. And he was already saying how he wanted to marry her. And she wasn't ready, and she felt increasingly stifled by the relationship. And sometimes guys would flirt with her, and he'd get jealous and blow up on her. But a week before her disappearance, a group from IU went to the Indy 500, which Lauren went with them. But Wolfe was in Atlanta visiting a friend. But he kept in contact with Lauren for the 2 days she was there, and also he received updates from his fraternity brothers who were there. And one of them told Wolfe she was wearing a risque outfit, which was a blue Barack Obama t-shirt, scissor cut into a tank top, and it was showing parts of her bra, so I guess that they thought that was risque. There was also a new guy there that was flirting with her, like from the group. Like he was kind of on the fringe of their social circle, but he went with this group anyway. But she didn't really know him very well. And this was Corey Rossman. And he was offering her liquor and cocaine while hitting on her at the Indy 500, which she didn't reject. Like she did take those things. And also, apparently, on the drive back home, Rossman told Lauren's friend and frequent party sidekick David Rohn, "I want to fuck Lauren." And Rohn cautioned that she had a boyfriend, to which Rossman replied, "I don't care."
That's kind of fucked up.
Yeah,
That's actually really fucked up.
right. That is really fucked up. And Wolf texted her saying he heard she was dressed provocatively there, which she didn't like the feeling of being spied on, so she yelled at his fraternity brothers who were there. And this triggered a text fight between Lauren and Wolf for 2 days with over 200 texts as a fight.
Oh my
And
god.
yeah, like I can't imagine texting that much. Like, why not call? I don't know. But apparently they somewhat made up when they both got back to IU's campus. So the night of the disappearance, her and Roan went to their friend Scott Schwartz's party to watch the NBA final between the Dallas Mavericks and Miami Heat. So Lauren was deciding to either hang out with Wolf after or see this new guy Rossman at a party her friend Jay Rosenbaum was hosting later that night. So Jay Rosenbaum was another friend she had met at Camp Tawanda when she was in high school. So like he was kind of a closer friend in the group than the other people that she was hanging out with. Like all the other people in her friend group she had met while at IU. And most of them had come from New York as well, so they kind of bonded over that, but she didn't know them as much because this would have been like the summer between her sophomore and junior year. So at the party, she drank a bottle of wine on an empty stomach, and then she went to Brian O'Connor's apartment, which was a few floors up from the party. And he was her roommate, Hadar Tamir's boyfriend, and was also her drug connection. So she went to him looking for like more drugs than just alcohol. So her and Roan went there. And she also ran into a friend from Long Island who was paying his way through college selling Xanax. So Lauren was looking to buy some, and he didn't have his usual amount on hand since it was slow during the summer. But since Lauren was a friend, he went to another friend on the 6th floor to see if he could get her any. So she waited in O'Connor's apartment, and he offered her cocaine while she was waiting. And like he was the one to have sold her cocaine at the Indy 500. So he agreed to sell her a gram at a cut rate of $40 since she was his girlfriend's roommate. So she agreed, and her and Roan snorted a couple lines while she was waiting for the Xanax. And then Tamir was there and expressed concern about Lauren mixing drugs, but she backed off because Lauren got mad about it. And she was known, like Lauren was known in their group as someone who could go shot for shot with people twice her size, so she was definitely like the partier, like more so in her group. And a friend described her as one of the fun ones, which is kind of sad in my mind,
Yeah.
but only her closest friends knew that she'd been ticketed by police for public intoxication, and she was required to attend AA meetings at this time. So she was still drinking and doing drugs even after that. And Lauren had been stressed the past couple of months, and her friends noted she was losing weight and she looked pale for the season, and her hair was thinning. So that was a toll from the anxiety and drug use. But her Long Island friend came back without any Xanax, but he did find 4 Klonopin pills, so he sold that to Lauren and Rum. So they arrived back at the Schwartz dinner party, and they pounded the tablets into powder. They cut it into 8 lines and began snorting, and they both did 2 each. But then Ron went to the bathroom, and when he came back, he found Lauren had snorted the rest on her own. So after that, she decided that she would go to Rosenbaum's house party instead of going to her boyfriend's house. So, and she knew Rossman was there, so she wanted to see him, I guess, instead of her boyfriend. and Roan came along with her for that. So they arrived at that party around 12:30 a.m. And, like, as a reminder, Rossman had told Rosenbaum that he wanted to get with Lauren, so I think that was his goal for the night. But Rosenbaum also had recently broached his interest in her in a conversation with Roan, where Roan replied Rosenbaum could get with her in the future. So, like, she's going to this house party with mostly guys who don't really seem like they're her friends and just want to get with her.
That's such a dangerous position to be in.
Right.
Ooh.
And she's already drank a bottle of wine and she's already taken cocaine and Klonopin. So, scary. So at the party, Rossman made his move on Lauren when she spilled a drink on herself and he offered to throw her shirt in his dryer. So Lauren accepted and they left the party for his place, which was just like 2 doors down. So Rossman's roommate was also there, Mike Beth. Lauren took her shirt off to throw in the dryer and they watched YouTube videos while Rossman tried to convince her to go out to the bars with him. And back at Rosenbaum's, Roan wanted to leave and couldn't find her. So after he checked the party, he checked Rossman's and found Lauren with just her bra and tights, sitting next to Rossman and asked what they were doing. Once Lauren explained, Roan got her shirt out of the dryer and handed it to her, saying, "Put the shirt back on." Like, he seems like the only actual friend here. So he's trying to look out for her. And around the same time, the party was ending at Rosenbaum's. So Rosenbaum stopped by to invite Rossman and Lauren to Kilroy's sports bar. And Roan tried to convince Lauren to go back to Schwartz's party to wind down for the night. But Lauren said she was going to the bar. So he gave up trying to convince her, and he left her and Rossman to go to the bars while he went back in for the night. And he texted Lauren saying, "Be careful, let me know if you need me." So, like, her only friend is gone now at this point. Like, her actual friend. So at 1:46 a.m., Rossman and Lauren entered Kilroy's, which is seen on surveillance footage, and Lauren was able to get in with her fake ID. And at 2:27 a.m., footage captured her and Rossman leaving the bar. So they're only there for, like, 45 minutes. And then she was stumbling as they left, and she had left her shoes at the bar, which they had, like, an outdoor patio area that had sand, so she had left her shoes there. And she also left her phone. But she had a wristlet with her key card for her apartment complex and ID. So they next went to her apartment, where she was struggling to walk, and at 2:30 she is seen entering Smallwood Plaza Apartments, where her unit is located. So it's only like 3 minutes afterwards. So she could have, like, just gone and been done for the night, but that's not what happened. The 4 guys noticed her, one of them being Adam Weiner, a friend of Lauren's, and he said hello, but she didn't appear to recognize him, and she was having trouble focusing. And Weiner asked her what she was doing with Rossman, which Rossman had responded it was fine, and he got her. But another guy said no, like he didn't have her, and said, "We know this girl, and just take her to apartment and leave." So, like, these 4 guys were trying to help her out and stuff, but this caused a back and forth between the guys and an altercation where one of the guys punched Rossman in the face, like knocking him to the ground. So then the guys fled after that because they thought that that was caught on camera, so they left Lauren alone with Rossman. So he decided to take her back to his, like, townhouse instead of her apartment, which they were right there at her apartment. So I'm not sure why he didn't just take her to her apartment. But at 2:48 a.m., Lauren and Rossman exit the elevator in the lobby of her apartment complex, and they passed a hotel, a bank, and a parking lot. They then went down a dark alley where halfway in there was another apartment complex. And I guess Rossman had some female friends there who had attended Rosenbaum's party. So he knocked on their door, I guess maybe to get some help, but no one answered, so they left and went back to the parking lot. And Lauren tried to walk on her own, but she had to stop, and she sat on the top step of a nearby stairwell. And Rossman urged her to get up, but her hand slipped, causing her to fall backwards, and she hit her head on the concrete. And there was a witness there, I guess, a woman who had just gone off as a bartender, and she heard the hit, like her hit the ground, and asked Lauren if she was okay, which Lauren didn't respond. And she was concerned for Lauren, who looked sweaty and dazed, but Rossman said she was just drunk. And then he carried her